The Peace Dependency podcast is brought to you by Total Red NES. Shop your Goofy Foot Controller TWO merch and CTWC approved hardware on TotalRedNES.com. Welcome to the Peace Dependency podcast. I'm your host Frank, also known as Sir Mason. We have a 3-time CTEC champion on the show. Representing Iceland but currently living in Denmark, it is Svavar. We talked about getting the NTSC console, losing round 1 of CTWC 2019, playing against both Jeff and Jonas in 2018, all the CTEC wins, and much more. This is our conversation. Svavar, welcome to the Peace Dependency podcast, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for having me. I love your show.
First question is always the same question for everyone who's new on the podcast, and that is, how did you get into NES Tetris?
That must have been in around 2000, probably early 2013. I can't remember. It might have been late 2012, but I saw Ecstasy of Order, basically, and I'd been playing Donkey Kong kind of competitively for a while before I got into Tetris. I'd kind of gotten to where I wanted to go with that game.
With Donkey Kong?
Yeah, I was super serious about that game. But then I got into that after watching The King of Kong when that came out in 2007. So I'm quite impressionable. So when Ecstasy of Order came out and I saw that, I just thought that this competitive Tetris is just so badass, man. Gotta get in on that. So
why did you decide to watch Ecstasy of Order?
I was always scrounging for video game documentaries. So especially after I saw The King of Kong, I was just hooked on that kind of subject because I grew up with two older brothers that each had their grew up with Nintendo on one side and Sega on the other, and kind of got indoctrinated.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just a passion, looking for stuff like this. So got hooked after King of Kong and started looking for more documentaries, and I found this Tetris one.
Is it the only video documentary that you saw, or did you saw more in that time period?
Yeah, there's this one called Chasing Ghosts. Have you seen that?
No.
It's about these guys from the 80s from the the Life magazine photo shoot of these legendary arcade players from the 80s, and that was also quite pumped me up quite a bit. I sometimes compare it to my brother is a skateboarder, and he always watches these skateboard tapes to get himself pumped up before he goes skateboarding.
Yeah. And
I used to always find these arcade documentaries to watch to get myself pumped up before I go play by myself or preferably find an arcade.
Is that the same what you do with Tetris? You watch first some Tetris videos and then you get pumped up that you want to play by yourself?
I'd say in the past recent years, maybe a little bit less, but yeah, definitely it's CTWC videos. Never really gets old, and but before, definitely I would watch everything I could.
And before you saw Ecstasy of Order, did you play any Tetris video games?
No, like it's a famous thing that everybody's played Tetris at some point in their life, and
Yeah.
I had the original Game Boy growing up, and it had Tetris on it, but I always thought it was kind of a game that I was not very interested in. So I thought, like, oh man, I'd rather play Mega Man than this.
Yeah.
But I know it sounds super, like very superficial, but just getting into it because of a documentary. But it really opened my eyes to how beautiful, like elegant and simplistic, I mean, simple but complicated the game is. So just by giving it a bit of a chance and dedicating some time to it,
Yeah.
I truly think it's the most beautiful game ever made right now.
I fully agree, but I find it interesting that you play Tetris on the Game Boy. You didn't find it interesting at all to play, and then a couple of years later, you saw a classic Tetris documentary, and then you're like, I want to play this.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say a couple of years later. We're talking about like I must have been 10 years old or something. And I thought a comparison, if I was crazy into Mega Man and Zelda and stuff like that. That for a kid, at least for me, kind of grabs your attention a little bit more with the action and the story and the graphics. But
Yeah.
then later, I think it. I think it also has to do with when I played it as a kid. I didn't really know what my objective was, other than just clearing lines and surviving. I never really thought much about the score, like in comparison to the other games I was playing.
What was your first setup? Was it a PAL one or an NTSC one?
Yeah, so I've had a PAL NES since I can remember, and I've had a Tetris for that for a long time, but I quickly gathered the information that there was a difference between PAL and NTSC. So even though I had the NES, I was more interested in the NTSC part. So I actually started out by playing on emulator for the first 2 years, I think.
Did it bump you out that you had a NES and you had the Tetris cartridge, but it was the European version, it was the PAL version, and you really wanted to play the NTSC version?
Yeah, I mean, I also played the PAL version. I didn't have there was no prejudice on my side towards the PAL version. I also loved that, and I followed the forums, and Jani was like legendary at the time, and Sabina sisters, not Sabina, sorry, Hitoila sisters, Jessica and Sabina, and I just idolized them, and that was on the PAL side. So I did, I did really enjoy that, but my kind of ambition at the time was to learn how to play the American one.
And when did you get the hardware for the NTSC?
But I love that you asked that question because I got it as a birthday present on I think it was in 2015, and Jani kind of instigated this collection effort in the with a couple of people in the scene at the time, where they all chipped in to buy me a NTSC NES and a cartridge. Got it shipped. It shipped over to where I live. So that was quite
Really?
amazing. So yeah, I just got that. My PB at the time was like 879, I think.
Yeah.
I know that sounds very specific. I might be off on that number, but I just remember I was so crazy ecstatic about getting that, and so thankful for the other people everybody that chipped in. And like I think it was 1 week after I got the console, I got my first maxout.
Oh, really? most people do need some time to adjust from an emulator to the hardware with a CRT.
I felt quite. I mean, I felt the difference quite quickly. How fresh and nice and quick it was to have it playing on NTSC console on a CRT.
But I love that it was a community effort to get you a NTSC NES and a NTSC cartridge for your birthday. How long was this a secret for you, or were you involved with getting it to your home from the start?
No, I had absolutely no idea. There were so many details that came to light after the fact. So I live in Denmark. I'm from Iceland, but I live in Denmark currently. And we have you call it tolls here for import. So my friend that actually received the package. So it wasn't sent to me; it was sent to my friend. He ended up having to pay so much in tolls, and then they had to collect also for that.
Oh man, I love that story. I love how it is that you didn't know that you got a NES for your birthday and a cartridge, and that you got your first max out a week later. You're one of the earliest max out players. According to the max out list, you're number 20.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for what's worth it with all the claims that has been made in the 90s and all that. But I love that your max out video, your first max out video, is just pointing a camera at your TV and recording it that way. It's not the stuff that we used to now with the capture cards and all that. No, it's just a camera to your TV and playing.
Yeah, I mean, people had capture cards for sure. It's not like it was that long ago, but I've never been super proactive in like getting my setup up to speed with the rest of the community. It was also like I watched a lot of Terry Purcell and Ben Mullen. They both just had cameras pointing to the TV, so I thought like, no, those guys are legends. I love those guys, and so who cares if I do that?
It's fitting for that era of classic Tetris. It's just pre-online competition. It's basically what we have now in all the Discord channels. You had it on Facebook or the different forums and all that.
Yeah.
I think nothing has changed except the place where we talk. It's Discord now instead of the forums and all that.
That's true. I haven't really made the transition over to Discord that much, and I kind of like the. Maybe I'm just old school in that way, but I kind of like the static nature of the forum posts.
Are they still active, or are you still active on those different forums?
I'm not active, and I have no idea if they are still active. I hope they are.
And you're a moderator or the moderator for the NES Paul Tetris Facebook group?
Yes.
How long has that group been around?
Oh, without checking, I have no idea. Jani, I think, originally started it, and we were very few people. And I think it was like after I won CTEC for the first time or something that he just randomly assigned me an administrator. But I enjoyed it. I love that. I love that group. I actually feel like it's quite close to my heart.
I love that it's still active. People are sharing their achievements, sharing whatever they want to share in that group.
Yeah.
And it's on Facebook, and it's the old school way of communicating with everyone.
Yeah, true. And you know, to be honest, there's very little administrating to be done on that site, because for the most part it's really well behaved, and people are just sharing their accomplishments and or interests or something.
I think the people who are close within the classic Tetris community are very nice people, and you don't need to moderate a lot for true community members.
Yeah, true.
Oh, after you got that max out in 2015, did you keep on playing NTSC, or did you move to Paul and go for a 700k on PAL?
No, that was a little bit later. After I got my first max out on NTSC, I had like a command to myself that I wanted my second max out to be a level 19 max out. I think it was like a full year, almost close to a year, just practicing regularly, going for the level 19 max out. And I told myself, like as a rule, I wasn't going to allow myself to play anything but level 19 until I got level 19 max out.
Oh, a level 19 can be brutal.
Yeah, so after I got my first max out, I literally did not play a single game of level 18 until I got the level 19 max out. And like as you might know, that a lot of max out players say is that the first max out is always kind of, could be better.
Yeah.
Even if a max out is a big achievement, but after the first one, there's still a lot of improvement to be made. And that was definitely true for myself also. Now when I look at my first max out, I think, oh God, I definitely wouldn't play like that anymore. I hope I don't.
Was your first max out a lucky one?
Yeah, aren't all first max outs kind of lucky?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I would say so, but I'm still proud of it, and I think I'll always be happy with the music that I'm listening to there, just blasting the Bonnie Tyler, "Total Eclipse of the Heart."
Oh, a classic.
I'm happy with that one.
How frustrating is it that you have your max out on 18 a week after you get your NTSC NES, and then you said to yourself, I want my 19 max out, and it took you a full year. How frustrating is that year that you can only play 19? You can't, maybe a couple of times you were close, but
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember if it was a full year or something, but it was a long time. And I don't know. Everybody has their moments, with Tetris where they just want to punch the wall.
yeah.
But definitely had those moments. But it was always. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I remember going to sleep in the evenings, like after a long session of playing. And thinking, as I went to sleep, like I can't wait to start a new day so that I can keep on practicing.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for a whole new day of new perspective, having consolidated all the information that you got from your previous session, and then try to turn it into something good for the next day. And most of the times it doesn't work out like that. I like trying at least to keep up that attitude.
When you finally got that 19 max out, what was your next goal?
I can't remember exactly like how locked that time was, if I had it split up that precisely. But I think it was around that time that I really started going for the PAL world record. So first I just wanted to get a 700k on PAL.
Yeah.
And I saw, I talked about the Victoria sisters from Sweden earlier.
Yeah.
At the time, it was Jani was number one with I think it was like 716,000. He got that so long ago. It's quite amazing considering the timeline of scores, But Sabina and Jessica were so high up, in the 680s, 690s. It was a dream for me just to surpass them, get to 700,000. The second ever to get to 700. And I can't remember the timeline as well as I can for NTSC, but it took me a long time to get 100k. I was so happy about it, and I thought like I can't stop here. I gotta beat Jani.
Yeah.
And we had already seen each other in tournaments, at that point. So there's already some rivalry starting there.
Oh, we'll get to the Jani Rivalry in a bit. But current pop PB is 745k.
No, it's 753.
753. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I was thinking in Dutch. In Dutch, we say, like, if we want to say 754, we say 700. And then we first say the last number, so the 4, and then we say the middle number, so 50. So if I have a full day of working and I restream, I sometimes mess up the scoring because I'm thinking in Dutch, but give the score update in English.
Yeah, the Danes have it the same way.
Yeah.
I'm used to that happening.
So yeah, 753 is your current pop PB. Do you want to aim for an 800k?
Yeah, why not? I have very little time to dedicate to Tetris these days as I did back then when I was on full force. Yeah, I think I'll always continue playing Tetris at some level.
Yeah.
I'm not in it for necessarily winning or whatever. I love playing Tetris and I love competing. So that
Yeah.
even if I can't spend as much time on it as I could before.
Does it bother you that you can practice so much?
No, I'm challenging myself with other stuff. So
Okay.
it's a lot of places you can find satisfaction for your sense of competitiveness.
What's your opinion on pretty much a Paul revolution? What happened in 2021 with the first Paul maxout earlier this year? Various world records that has been broken. We saw a 405 line game in was it April?
I think it's absolutely incredible, and all my hugest congratulations to both guys. It's just amazing. It blows my mind. I will say though that I do have a huge appreciation for scores that I've done with hyper tapping or rolling. It's just that I cannot intuitively kind of understand it much myself. So it's hard for being a DAS player. I hope I'm not like just talking about myself like I'm being handicapped or something. But it's hard to kind of appreciate as much, at least from my point of view, moves that they're making, because I don't really relate much to them. But I do definitely see the huge accomplishment and the amount of concentration and foresight and just understanding of the game that it required.
Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, definitely huge appreciation for Adam and the amazing stuff that he's able to do with just TAS. Gives me hope, and I don't really like to the whole TAS versus app argument. They are both valid things in and of themselves. But I just love the pure demonstration of skill that I see from Adam, and I mean, I gotta still say Jani is always a superhero in my book, because even if he hasn't reached the same scores or same demonstrations of skill, he's the OG of PAL.
Well, if it wasn't for Jani, Adam wouldn't probably play NES Tetris, or if it wasn't for Jani, there probably wouldn't be a CTEC.
Yeah, who knows?
Total Radness! Yo, this is Steve DeLuca of Total Radness. home of the Tetris World Order.
Bringing order to a chaotic world.
Ready to get rolling on the right side? Dominate the D-pad with a goofy foot controller. Visit TotalRadNES.com to score a controller modded by the inventor, me. We've also got TWO gear, CTWC approved hardware, and a ton of additional retrospective madness. Tune in to twitch.tv/TotalRadness to watch Quaid and I take the BLV to 11. Also, don't miss the other homies at Aaron Jazamoki for the Boom Tetris house parties with the Kitchen Dwellers. And at Classic Vomps for those classic Tetris snugs. Be the best and keep it TWO for life.
We will return to the conversation with Svavar in a minute. But first, if you like the Peace Dependency podcast, help us grow. Please share the podcast with every classic Tetris fan. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Peace Dependency. You can also like our Facebook page, Peace Dependency Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will have all the podcasts uploaded at full length. Also, you can listen to the Peace Dependency Podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, or your favorite podcast app. Join the Tetris Friendlies Discord server. Besides the fact that it's the place to discuss anything PDP, you can also participate in some lovely friendlies or put your ELO on the line in the various ELO battles. If you have a suggestion who we need to have on the next Peace Dependency podcast, let us know through our socials or the Discord channel. Now, let's go back to the conversation with Svavar, where we will be talking about CTEC 2015. Let's go to the tournaments. Let's go to the major tournaments. You were present at the very first CTEC all the way back in 2015. How did you find out there was going to be a European Championship?
Chris, the organizer of the event, he was actually the one who organized the Danish championships in Denmark in 2014. And I participated there. So I know Chris personally. He decided after that one that he would kind of go a little bit bigger and buy a European Championships.
Yeah.
And so I heard about that pretty early on. He was planning on doing that. There was no question about it. That's I was gonna participate in that.
And at the moment that Chris told you that he was going to organize a European Championship, you decided you wanted to go, but did you also encourage other people to participate in CTEC?
I mean, I helped as much as I could to promote that. I mean, on Tetris Concept was really the place where everybody shared their knowledge and posts with each other at the time.
Yeah.
So my main focus was actually just to make sure that Jani would know, and like people on the top score list on Tetris Concept would know.
And in the end, did pretty much everyone come to Copenhagen?
Yeah, all the top names on the list at the time, they showed up. It was such a lovely community building time. I hold that year so dearly to my heart that Adam and Vince came also. Chris invited Adam and Vince, and Terry Purcell came with them. I remember Terry, I had added him on Facebook before we even knew each other, but he put this banner picture on his Facebook with a picture of Europe with the letters "mine" over it. And I just loved that excitement. And I don't know if I've ever been as excited in my life as when that tournament happened.
You played Adam Cornelius.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
after Adam defeated Vince in round 1.
Yep.
But unfortunately, you lost against Jani in these semis.
Unfortunately, I don't know. Jani fortunately got to the final. You can also put it that way.
Was it fitting that Jani was the first champion of CTEC?
He wasn't. He got second place. He played Linus from Sweden.
Oh my god, I read it completely wrong. That's true. Linus was so. Yeah, you're right. With all that's such a Mandela effect on me. I always thought that Jani was the first champion.
I gotta give a shout out. There is a documentary on YouTube about the whole creation of the first CTEC, and as a side story with the rivalry between me and Jani, and a loving friendship, I would say.
What is it with the rivalry with you and Jani?
I guess it's just because we always ended up going against each other, and it was, in the scoreboards, I was always like quite publicly aiming for him. I've always held quite a big place in my heart for Jani. I hosted him during the first CTEC, so he stayed at my place and had breakfast together and pretty much all the stuff, while the tournament weekend was going on. And it just became good friends, and never without that little spice of friendly animosity. I don't know if that's even a thing you can say in English.
Was that only when you play Tetris?
I would say just in Tetris. Yeah.
I love the fact that you are rivals, and that you show no emotion during play. We saw that with the Game Scouts video. It's a quick time lapse of your I think your match against Jonas. No emotion, and Jani is pretty much Jediing every piece to the left and right. So you're pretty much counterparts of how you play Tetris.
I think both of these things have become like each of their own like mini memes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always just feel like I'm kind of wasting energy if I start putting my body into it, and I love to kind of just try to. I go back to that old Jonas philosophy, in Ecstasy of Order. Try to just space out, let your mind roam, be relaxed, and kind of daydream while you play Tetris. I don't know if you know the section that I'm talking about, that where Jonas was describing how he was playing, and it just resonated with me, and I thought like, oh, that sounds beautiful. It works quite well for me. And whenever I do, for example, when I'm streaming, interact with people or see this, I'm quite energetic and friendly, in day-to-day life. But if I do that while I'm playing Tetris, I don't play very well.
Were you aware of the fact that you were just showing no emotion, playing concentrated, or was it after Game Scout put that video on YouTube you became aware of it?
I mean, okay, so I played in CTC 2015, 16, and 17 before I did CTWC 2018. World Championships 2018 was the first time I participated in the World Championships. And I think that's when people started saying, like, okay, this guy, you could replace the footage with the photo. But I wasn't intentionally doing that. I just thought, okay, here I am. And after all these years, meeting all of my idols and all these people that I have looked up to as like, Tetris gods, and, dreamt about meeting, and here, all of them are here, and I'm up with the lights on. And for me, a big part of it was putting on a straight face, focusing on my breathing, kind of not trying to let things get to me was a way to deal with all this excitement and everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Like when I played against Jonas in 2018 in the quarterfinals, that was something that it felt so unreal to me. That I was actually at that point in CTWC, and I was actually there sitting next to the guy who I look up to the most.
7-time world champ.
I didn't know how to keep it together any other way, and I don't even. So I met with Jonas like the night before at a bar, and I was just try to not act too starstruck.
Yeah.
Because I was also thinking like I wanna do my best in this tournament, and if I'm just being a fanboy, I don't know how much chance I'm gonna have at winning.
True. Yeah. True.
And so I tried to keep it cool, but the moment Jonas knocked me out of the tournament, I was just like, "Oh, dude, I love you so much." Cool. So,
Was that the same when you played around earlier in 2018? You played against Jeff.
yeah.
Was that the same? Like,
Oh,
he's a hero.
definitely. I remember. So Terry. I stayed at Terry's place, and after the qualifications and after the day was over, we were kind of looking at how the bracket looked, and Terry specifically said to me, "Jeff is no slouch," which we all know is true. Jeff is a monster in a Tetris sense. He's an extremely sweet and awesome person.
I have him next month on the show.
Yes. I love that. I'm not gonna miss that. But I could not believe that I got through Jeff. And I mean,
There were high quality matches.
it was it is probably. I mean, I kind of have to separate the NTSC and PAL with what are my favorite matches, but from a pure gameplay standpoint, I would say that's probably the most fun match that I've ever had on NTSC against Jeff in 2018. I think I maybe somebody beat this, but I think me and Jeff still have the record for the longest long bar dropped in CTWC. 64 dropped.
Oh yeah, I remember. I now remember it. I don't know if someone indeed beat it, but now that you say it, I think back at the 2018 Scout video, and then indeed that you played against Jeff and had that longbar drought, but you both had that same longbar drought.
Yeah, but I topped out earlier, I think, than him, and then he needed to catch up. It was just this unrelenting drought.
Was your mindset against Jeff different than your mindset against Jonas, or did you have bad RNG or not the greatest stack against Jonas that you topped out?
I think the mindset was the same. It was just be calm, play your own game. That was what I kept telling myself.
Yeah.
Be calm, look at the pieces, play your own game. And I was a huge fan of Jeff beforehand also. But I managed to survive that. And then, I don't know, and this is going to sound very fanboyish, but I just felt the aura of Jonas. And I could not help to feel the intimidation of us.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I thought about this sometimes. When you have somebody that's, I mean, this is taking no credit from Jonas because obviously he was a master. But there's also something to be said about the kind of prestige that you build up when you
Mm-hmm.
when you win that much, and
Yeah.
then it also has the effect of mentally instilling something in your opponent. You think like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, this guy is the big deal.
Yeah.
It seeps into your unconscious.
Yes. Yeah. True. I think people do have that with Joseph nowadays, or with Doc, the current world champion.
Yeah.
Joseph not so much, but Doc is playing regular online competition, and he gets defeated a couple of times, but it's still, if you go up against Doc, if you go up against Joseph, it's an aura of, oh, they are world champion. They know how to play the game.
I love the whole atmosphere around all of this because it's supposed to be like this.
Yeah.
Think about any other sports. You could think about race car driving, basketball, football, whatever. This aura, it's like it's I don't know. It's pure competition. That
Yeah.
it's something that I so fascinating.
And intimidating.
Yeah.
You also played Harry Hong during CTWC 2020.
Yep.
And even though he became world champion in 2014, he's still a world champion in Classic Tetris. Was it also in what we just talked about, the aura of, I'm going against a world champion right now, I need to stay calm, need to get my nerves under control, and I can win it?
So we were when I played against Harry, we were both in. I mean, we were in the loser bracket. We had both
Yeah.
lost our first match, and I don't know. I don't know if it's the. I just don't think there's a comparison between how it feels when you're in that atmosphere of a live tournament to when I'm just sitting in my apartment.
Yeah.
I didn't get that same atmosphere of it's me versus him now.
Mm-hmm.
I felt more like it's me playing in my apartment with a Twitch stream on.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to draw anything away from the tournament was amazing, but it definitely is a different kind of atmosphere and a feeling to actually being there in person. The short answer is no, I didn't feel that. A long answer would be, that there's a lot more that goes into it psychologically and as an experience of going to this place that we all travel to and have this kind of major event.
Is it also a little bit of reason why you had that CTWC watch party at your apartment? Getting a little bit of crowd behind you.
Oh, you mean people were saying in the chat that they thought that I had the entire Icelandic mafia behind. That was just I don't know. Yeah. I didn't feel like just sitting alone in my apartment. That didn't feel right to me. So I invited one of my best friends from Portugal, and then the other guy is one of my best friends from Denmark.
Yeah.
And they pretty much just sat in the background and drank beers while while
Do they follow Classic Tetris?
my Portuguese friend does a little bit, not the other one. I asked the referee, or I can't remember what. I asked if it was okay that I had people in the background. You have all these things you need to sign about, being on stream and stuff.
But is it also the reason why you don't play a lot of online competition?
it's not just the competition that is the attractive part to me. It's the sense of community, and it's the sense of friendship and bonding, and meeting people in person. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally realize that you can bond over the internet and become even very close friends over the internet, but
Yeah.
there's nothing just like going to one of these events. I mean, I cannot wait until we can all go to the next CTWC live and CTEC live.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that I always say to my friends, that's Christmas for me. That's like, this is Christmas. This is a holy time for me.
Just meeting various people of the community. Does the end result that you get in the tournament, does that matter to you?
Yeah, whenever I go into a tournament, especially if it's a live tournament, then I do really practice. I practice a lot, and I try to do my absolute best, and I set myself some goals. Usually, the goal being get number one.
Yeah.
Expectation doesn't always have to be get number one, but the goal should always be that. I've always thought, if you don't set yourself the goal of being number one, then that's definitely not going to happen. Your goal is, I'm going to get number 4. And, okay, then you might get number 4, but in best case, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just me talking now. I always feel like if you put your goal the highest, worst you can do is something close to it.
Yeah. When, for example, 2019, you lost in the first round, and it was a brutal first round because also Harry, Jonas, and Jeff lost in round 1. How long did you get bumped by that?
I can be completely honest with you here now and say, okay, so I played against Bad Boy.
Yeah.
I would say we had a great match. I mean, he played excellently. He was so good. I felt like I was well prepared. But after I lost, I went outside and I cried. I know it sounds very petty.
No.
I cried, and it was not because I lost. It was more because, I don't know. I hoped I could do more in the tournament, at least,
Yeah.
And I just called my ex-girlfriend and said, "Oh, I lost." And she said, "It's okay." And then I felt okay, and then I just joined Jonas and Harry in a beer because we were all up, and then everything felt okay.
It doesn't sound pity; it sounds passionate.
Thank you. I don't feel bad about sharing that. So I do feel passionate about things when I set my mind to it.
But does every loss in a major tournament brings that same kind of emotion?
No, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of it had to do with that, So okay, I mean, of course, at the same time in 2019, there was a major shift happening in the way Tetris tournaments happen, with the players.
Yeah.
My experiences from 2018, I thought like, okay, I can come even, stronger next year, and I didn't really anticipate or see this whole movement of insanely talented young people joining the scene.
Yeah.
The tears were not out of frustration against any of those people. It was just hardcore passion for wanting to improve on the previous year, I guess.
But if you had that in 2019, what were your feelings about qualifying for CTWC 2020? Because the level of play was even higher than in 19.
That was kind of like, as I said before, I had my eyes on number one, but I had my expectations on who cares if I don't get that.
Yeah.
And let's be realistic. DAS player, in hindsight now, 2020, was not going to cut it.
No.
And yeah, we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot more laid back. I wanted to obviously to do my absolute best, and I had hoped to go a bit further, but I was okay. I mean, I had fun. I just love CTWC. I love CTEC. I love that people actually put their time and effort into arranging these things that we can all enjoy.
Yeah. So you will definitely be back for both CTWC and CTEC in 2021.
For absolutely sure, man.
And then let's hope that we can go back to real life in 2022.
Yeah.
Because I joined the community last year during COVID. So I never experienced the real life tournaments, only experienced the online versions. And now with Classic Tetris Benelux, we're looking for a meetup, looking if we can get a meetup. We want to organize the Benelux Championship and all that. But I just want to meet my fellow community members.
Absolutely. I'd love to meet you too, man.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get time and can get the days off, I really want to go to Copenhagen.
You're such a huge part now of the Tetris culture, and so awesome. Such great stuff for the community. I can't wait to get my hands on your hands, and we'll shake them hard.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, looking forward to it. But what are the differences between a CTWC tournament and a CTEC tournament?
I'd probably say, for one, no, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say the level of alcohol is definitely different. No, I mean there's a cultural difference, right?
Yeah.
I mean that's to be expected.
To me, the crowd is little bit more into it in the CTEC than in CTWC.
Yeah, but it's not on as big of a scale as CTWC, and it's also not governed by a convention hall. In CTEC, there's you also have to take into account that the crowds are pretty much different. Like the intersection of who goes to CTWC and who goes to CTEC is very much removed, in CTEC. It's mostly people that play within Europe.
Yeah.
And so it has, it follows naturally that it's going to have its own atmosphere kind of defined by the people that show up.
Because it's a standalone event, only Tetris enthusiasts will go there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, but there's also you have the Game Boy tournament in I'm not a huge fan of the Game Boy Tetris, but it does draw a crowd of its own.
I want to go back to CTEC, and I want to go back to the tournaments that you actually won, because you're a 3-time CTEC champion.
Yes.
17, 18, and 19.
That's right.
Did you know before you went to those tournaments that you were a favorite to win?
I was hoping to win in 2015 and 2016 too, but I just wasn't there yet in consistency and score. Basically, I could get far, but I couldn't compete with the consistency.
Yeah.
No. In 2017, I felt like, okay, I've gotten 700,000, or maybe it was actually shortly after. I can't actually remember, but I felt very good about my consistency, and I felt this real determination to practice a lot by focusing on consistency. Whereas before I'd been focusing so much on like getting a high score, and 2017. I don't know if I have that much to say about it, except that me and Jani met in the final, and so the difference between 2017 and 18 was huge. The scores and the amount of people, the challenge was so much higher in 2018. It's hard for me to say much about it. I don't know. I kind of feel like I just felt back on these kind of rules that I had about never top out before transition.
Yeah.
Never top out before transition, no matter what. And
Just play it safe if necessary.
and the practice all consists of see how high you can get comfortably up to a level where you're always transition, but you always have a good score.
Yeah.
And I just try to consistently push that level. I mean, this has nothing to do about how, like, what your personal best is or what the best score you can do is. It was all about, like I said, how far can I push it until I start to top out before transition.
Yeah.
Take that aggression and dial it down by 5%, you know?
But it's so easy to get greedy.
Yeah, but I don't know. In my situation, I felt like being safe was actually rewarding me more than taking the chances. And I mean, if you look at some of the replays, you'll definitely see that I take chances here and there.
Yeah.
That's what makes Tetris interesting, right? You gotta kind of judge things as they come.
True. Yeah.
And 2018 was definitely the toughest. 19, sorry.
2019. Yeah, but did you feel the pressure when you won in 17? Did you feel the pressure of I'm the defending champion?
Yeah, definitely. Showing up after winning 2 years in a row, that there's definitely a pressure there. But I also think there's something helping me out there because you go in there and people that are showing up, they think, oh, this guy has won twice in a row, and then they might get more nervous than they should be.
Yeah.
Because we're all just people playing in a Tetris tournament.
Yeah.
But it's that knowledge beforehand that kind of I don't know, maybe stresses some people out before. I really just took the same approach to all 3 years, and I had some success with it.
But what makes it that 2019 was the hardest year to compete?
It was just the level of competition. The amount of people that showed up, and the skill level had risen so much. And we were kind of reaching this point where the qualification lines were also increasing a lot, and it was harder to just get a placement in the qualifications. Luckily, I had a very good game early on in the qualifications, and then I just felt like usually in the early rounds you try to kind of gauge the risk taking that you have to play with against some sort of preformed knowledge of the player that you're going against. But
yeah,
I don't really feel like I could do that at all. because I think our first opponent was Stefano from Italy,
Yeah.
and he gave me a run for my money. It's right from the first match. It felt pretty tense. Yeah, I don't know what much more to say about it than I just tried to focus on my own game.
Is that difficult in a real life setting to just focus on your own game?
There's definitely, I feel like there's so much excitement in that, and I love that stuff. Maybe that's what helped me those years, but I kind of tried to take the commentary and the shouting and the stuff and put it in the back of my head, but when it comes down to it, we're just laying bricks.
True. Yeah, that's the nature of the game.
It's like, I love this quote by Ben Mullen. It's
yeah.
Just put stuff where it fits. It's that simple.
True. Yeah.
I know it's not that simple, but it's a little.
It's a simple game on the outside, but it's terrible on the inside.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you participated in CTEC 2020. That was also online.
Yep.
You lost to the eventual winner, My Winkus.
Yep.
Is it, when you lose, is it okay to lose to the eventual winner?
It's okay to lose to anyone. The thing is, like, where are you going to put the blame? Okay, does there even need to be any blame? No, it's. I think he played super well. I think he totally deserved it. He played incredibly well, and I tried my best, and he won. And I'm happy for it. That's.
Do you ever feel that you can blame yourself for a loss?
Yeah, sure. If I feel like I did something stupid during a match. Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about it. Every loss is an opportunity to learn and grow from, right?
In theory, what should happen? Yeah.
I mean, that's at least what I try to do. But I mean, for me, the biggest thing is that I had fun doing it, and if I make some friends along the way, that's the best part.
Svavar, my final question for you is: what are the things you want to do Tetris-wise in the near future?
I am 1.2, and then as a more long-term thing, I would like to get 1.2 starting on 19. And maybe further down the line, 800K on PAL. I know you asked me that earlier, but now you're getting the fire started.
Now I'm getting the fire started. So when we're done, you're going to play PAL.
Who knows?
Svavar, thank you so much for joining me on the show. It was a great pleasure.
So much for having me. How do you say in Dutch?
Dankjewel.
Dankjewel.
Yeah. And with that all being said, this will be the end of the Peace Dependency podcast. Thank you all for listening, and make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to join the Tetris Friendlies Discord server and follow me on the socials at Sir Mazer. For now, have a great Tetris month, and I will see you all in October. Bye! The Peace Dependency podcast was brought to you by Total Red NES. Shop your Goofy Food Controller TWO merch and CTWC approved hardware on TotalRedNES.com.